I'm not stubborn. I'm right.
I really love the game, and I don't hate the ending, so the ending has not ruined the game for me. I think it could have come close to ruining the game, but it didn't. So I don't like it. I don't hate it. I think it has some good qualities, but I don't like the ending. The ending might grow on me. I don't know. Usually I have to play things twice and see what was set up ahead of time and everything. I don't know. But right now, having fresh at the ending, I don't like it. But I also felt that way about Outer Wilds. I didn't like the ending of Outer Wilds right at the start either. I felt very mixed on it, and now I really, really like the ending of Outer Wilds. So I don't know how that goes. So I don't know how this is going to go the same way. So here's why I don't like the ending for many reasons. But the main one I can think of right now to explain it is that throughout the whole entire story, they pretty much wrote themselves into a corner. And then the last scene is just the two of them going, but what if we just wrote ourselves out of the corner, LMAO? Okay, let's do that. And then they just wrote themselves out of the corner. So I feel like Alan even says, and this is why I feel a bit mixed on it, Alan even says, was that too easy? And it does feel too easy. They said they had to earn it, and I don't feel like it was earned. Especially since he wakes up at the end, alive. And it's like, it's not a loop, it's a spiral. Which is a really cool way of ending it and everything. And I really like that they had another one like that. That makes sense, and it's funny, but it's also kind of like, you know? Like, what does that mean? Although I think it makes more sense than it's not a lake, it's an ocean. It's not like it's an ocean does make sense to me, some amount of sense, but yeah. So let's get some of the easy ones out of the way first. Gameplay surprisingly grew on me. It has the dodging and shooting, you know, if you can get some good game feel and some good sounding guns, just the basic concept of shoot for the weak spots and mostly headshots can be satisfying, and the guns feel good in this game. Ammo is pretty tightly controlled. I like the dodge. I didn't like some of the fumbling you can do when you run out of battery and she replaces the battery and she doesn't pull it up. I think Alan can do that too, but it didn't seem to happen as much with Alan as it did with Saga. I wonder if maybe there wasn't enough incentive to do combat. Once I realized that enemies would just spawn in areas, I just was like, it's not worth the resources to me. I'm probably going to spend more resources killing them, and that I'm going to get from killing them, and then I get to the next area and there's probably going to be more ammo from boxes because I'm low, and it's like, why, whatever, who gives a shit. And in these games I try to play as I would, rather than just knowing the game's going to give me more ammo later. That might be a flaw of mine. If you feel differently, then go for it. But to me, I would rather not be like, well, I know the game's going to give me more ammo later, so who gives a shit? Just use it all. Like, I would rather be like, no, I want to conserve. I want to like feel that stress on resources, that sort of thing. But I do think that if they gave you a lot more ammo and there was a lot more enemies in some like fighting arenas, I think that the gameplay might have more time to shine. So I'd be interested to see what they do in DLC, because Alan Wake 1 was so much better with DLC, so I'd like to see that. But this was definitely way better than Alan Wake 1 gameplay. It was, again, I feel like my initial thoughts are about this, not really that changed. It is one step above serviceable, maybe a step and a half to 2 steps. It's decent to good, you know. That last gauntlet where you're fighting all those enemies, it was a fun time. It was pretty stressful, didn't run very well, so maybe that impacted my enjoyment a little bit, but you know, I enjoyed the gameplay. I liked the exploration, I liked the puzzles. The visuals of the game added a lot to that as well. The environments are very similar in this one, just like the first one, for Saga's end and also Alan's end. Both of the environments you both go through, it's either just city and buildings or it's just forest and forest adjacent things, forest on the lake. And I didn't really get tired of it because the game just looked so good. And I think they played with more times of day, that you're, instead of always being nighttime when you're fighting the enemies, sometimes it was dusk, sometimes it was dawn. You know, it's supernatural darkness that still has some light. So I thought that was good. The game was like visually gorgeous. It was very creative. Sounded good. So I think those are the easy ones to get out of the way. So story, I don't know, man. I love how it was presented. I love the quality of writing. If I was to compare this to a book, I would say that the prose is great, but maybe the plot isn't. It's that prose versus plot thing again. I think the plot was great for most of it, and the characterization of everyone except for Alan, maybe, although Alan's situation is very interesting, was quite good. I think a flaw of the game is that it has to build on Alan Wake 1. And at the same time, it's kind of charming, and that constraint of like, look, we have to follow from a game we made a long time ago that has story, that writing that might not be up to our standards. There's something probably very creatively taxing about that, and sometimes, often actually, someone who is creative will flourish under the constraint. Constraint breeds creativity. Instead of like having full freedom to do whatever you want, you have to be like no, I have to tie it to these certain elements, and that makes you be like, okay, how do I solve these problems? And because you're solving those problems, sometimes that can lead to some really creative things and some really cool solutions and some cool bits of writing and plot. So maybe there's some benefit from that, but like the first flaw I can point out is that Alice is a completely different character. It's not even character development. She is a completely different character than what she was in Alan Wake 1. That is not the same person. Just absolutely not even the same person whatsoever, and she's so much more interesting in this game. She has so much more agency, she has so much more depth to her character. She's not just like this like I'm afraid of the dark damsel that she was in Alan Wake 1. And I really like that. It's way better, but it also doesn't ring true. It's like, where the fuck is this coming from? You know what I mean? Like, what even is Alan and Alice's relationship anymore? Because before it seemed like it was like a very kind of shallow, you're my muse, but I'm really wrapped up in my own issues and shit, and I don't know, and Alice is just kind of here. And then you see more from her side in this one, but it's kind of coming out of nowhere for me. And Alice, I don't know, I kind of feel like maybe she's going to be more in the DLC or something. I really like the Alice parts in this, but it was almost like I was seeing a continuation of a different game. I don't know. And that is connected to the writing in a corner thing. It felt like this whole entire game was just, how do we write our way out of the ending we had in the first game, while also trying to make everything canon at the same time, but also kind of not canon because it's in the dark place. And then at the very end, they just sit in the room and just kind of, let's just do it, Lamayo. And then he wakes up and nothing has really changed. He's still there. It's still the loop, although it's a spiral. What, we're gonna go again and do better this time? It feels like we're in the exact same place that we were at the end of Alan Wake 1. Now Alice is in there, I guess. So we know a little bit more about Alice. We have more people on the field. But also, no, not really. We know more about Scratch. We know more about the Dark Place. Everything to do with Breaker and Door was really interesting. And Door got a lot of time. And Ahti as well. I was expecting more of that to develop toward the end. And then as we got to the end here, I was like, oh, it's not. That's for next time. Okay. All right. I can vibe with that. But at the same time, I wish that the ending was a bit more conclusive. Now, maybe the DLC will do that. Maybe in another reality, Joe didn't play Alan Wake 2 until 2 years afterwards and is playing the DLC in 2025 and is like, you guys had to wait for this DLC for all this shit? What the fuck? Like, whoa, holy fuck, I'm so glad I waited. Like, just like Alan Wake 1 it was, I don't know. But I'm a little let down. Just a little. I love the quality of the writing here. I love the presentation. It had so many cool moments. I love Saga. Like I don't know how she's gonna fit in with most memorable video game characters, but she's already in one of the upper tiers, I would say. I really enjoyed that sequence at the end where she's in the mine place and she's piecing it together. I'm saying a lot. Sorry. The whole Alan is Scratch thing didn't land for me, and maybe that's why I'm not enjoying the ending. It's just kind of like, oh, and then he's just Casey for no reason. It feels kind of rushed, right? I thought it was going somewhere with more purpose. Like, look, the revelations of this is the ritual to lead you on, that was more purposeful writing to me, and more of a oh fuck moment. Holy shit, I felt like I was in the hands of a masterful writer at that moment that knew how to toy with me and was leading me on and was look at the revelations I'm giving you, where is this going? And then followed that with, yeah, Scratch and Alan are the same person kind of, but also it's a dark entity that can just shift between one and the other, and Alex Casey is there, and now also they're just going to go into the writer's room and just be like, no, you on the typewriter, and then I win, GG. It's like, wait, what? Is this the same thing? So it just feels I don't want the quality rating was so high that I don't think that that's exactly what happened. But I'm sitting here just thinking this is just set up for Alan Wake 3 and the next one, which is what I was really starting to worry about as we got through this game, that it wasn't going to end with anything conclusive and it was just going to be, oh, you know, drink your Ovaltine, motherfucker, here's the next one. And that is what's happening. Not the worst thing in the world, you know, trilogies are very common, DLC, but I am a little disappointed and I just want to be upfront about that. You know what I mean?